Hello everyone, welcome back to another video called video web thing, what do I want to call it. So this is a video that I do every Friday unless my schedule has been changed and I'm not off on Friday. So I generally upload these kinds of videos between 7 and 8. Or I do them between 7 and 8, and I upload them. So, yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the Night Terror event and why I feel like that it is a lot different than the other events that DC and even Marvel has brought out. And I am going to be talking towards the end of it about the whole thing with Miss Marvel, comeback in comic. I watched this video on Clownfish TV where you had people on Twitter that absolutely hated that they brought Miss Marvel back, and so I'm going to be talking about that later on. So last week I made the decision that this week we're going to be talking about Night Terror event. And I don't know what I'll be talking about next week. But I will talk about something. So, when we're talking about events, we're talking about either they will suspend a series of comic books to just focus on the event, or that event will be separate from the other books. So, I think it was earlier this year, Marvel brought out the Dark Web event, and then you have the Edge of the Spider-Verse event, which I am going to be honest, after a while I stopped buying it. I have not gotten all of the Dark Web books, and I'm really not interested in getting the rest of them. So yeah, because they were just god awful. So first of all, my gripe about events is that they don't produce, in my own personal opinion, good quality stories. They will just throw something together thinking that it is going to be this great thing, and it turns out to be one of the worst things that they do to a character. So, with Dark Web, the only comic books that I thought were good was Gold Goblin and Mary Jane and Black Cat. There are people out there that will say Mary Jane Black Cat is not a good comic book series, and that's their right to have that opinion. But I think that out of all of the crappy comic books that came out earlier this year, it was one of the better ones. A lot better ones. So, and then we had DC versus Vampires, which was a totally separate Elseworld thing that did not affect the main set of comic books, which was actually one of the best series that DC brought out since I started collecting comic books. And that was last year that came out. And they're still wondering, is there going to be a sequel to that particular one? I really highly doubt it, because that Earth is actually its own self-contained thing. So yeah, so that's one. And then you have, of course, you have the medieval thing. So yeah, so it's very, very, it all depends. It all depends. Lazarus Planet was one of the big events of 2023, which we got Spirit World from, which I really think is one of DC's golden books. That's my own personal opinion. Take that for what it is. So yeah. So I mean, you can get characters that really stand out in these events and really makes you do a lot of thinking. So the event that we're currently on is called Night Terrors, and this is a very big pile of comic books, and this has caused DC to interrupt their normally scheduled pile of books. So we have a new villain that I've never heard of before. Even when I was collecting comic books 20 some years ago, there really wasn't this character. This character is, in from what I can gather, is an entirely new villain. His name is Insomniac, and he lives beyond the borders of the dead. And he is looking for a stone called the Nightmare Stone, and he's got some nasty plans for it. Now, from what we know about like the Marvel universe, we know that like the Infinity Stones have all this power. So my personal view is that the Nightmare Stone also has this kind of power. So far there has been a total of see here, I'm gonna be counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There has been a total of about 17 comics that have come out in the Night Terror event. I just finished reading Night Terror's The Flash. So, what is my opinion about the series? I'm really loving it in some extent. There is one comic book that I really did not like in the Night Terror event, but that's my own personal opinion. People will say they're all good. It's interesting to see DC's heroes and villains in this kind of world in which their own dreams can get distorted and twisted around to enable Insomniac to try to find this stone. And it's kind of like this twisted land that you would think that because it is in the realm of the dreams, that you would have Dream that would be like wondering what the fuck is going on in his realm. And I find it kind of odd that Dream has not appeared at all in this series, because Insomniac is invading his realm. And Dream does not like that. And the only time that we actually were given any kind of nod to the world of Neil Gaiman was when Deadman said that Death and Dream are like brother and sister, and that was the only time that we ever got a reference to them. Poison Ivy's comic was really interesting because it's like she knows there's something like going on. And also you got Black Adam that actually meets Batman in his nightmare. He's like, hey, yeah, we need to talk. So it's interesting. But overall, I say that the Night Terror event is actually one of the best, or one of the better events that DC has brought out, and I'm still wanting to read the rest of Lazarus Planet. I really do want to get into reading the rest of Lazarus Planet. I'm actually going to see if the comic books are on the DC thing. But as far as events are concerned, this is actually one of the better ones. It's not over. It's going to actually end in August, or conclude in August, so that's something we're going to be seeing. And hopefully they're going to bring Dream into it, because I really would like to see Dream in outside of the of his comic book series. So we'll see what happens. I mean, you cannot you cannot affect people's dreams without Dream, without Morpheus finding out. It's very, very difficult to do it, and how he's managed to get away with it, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the art style, I mean, you have different people that are designing these comic books and doing the story and all that jazz. And it feels like they're actually sitting down and saying, okay, what elements can we incorporate in these comic books to make it feel like that it's a horror movie or whatnot. At least that's my own personal opinion. Take that for what it is. It's an opinion. But I'm really eager to continue to read it. What's today's? Today's Friday. Sunday, I will be starting on this week's Night Terror books. And I'm thinking about just reading 2 of them. So I kind of will finish them before the next batch comes out. But I'm looking forward to it and see what DC is going to continue to do with this series. On the Marvel side of things, I mentioned this at the beginning, I was going to talk about this. Next week, the X-Men Hellfire Gala 2023 issue number 1 is coming out. And this is the first appearance of the revived Miss Marvel. And what was interesting about the response that came out of it was that people that were angry that Miss Marvel was killed in the first place, they got their panties in a twist when they realized that Miss Marvel is going to be matching up with her Disney Plus counterpart. And in all honesty, I think that the anger is very, very misplaced. Marvel doesn't give a shit about their readers and what they personally think. Their job is to produce comic books to make money. So, what am I going to do? Well, I plan on to buy the issue. Mainly because people are mad. Just mainly because they're mad. But also because I really want to see what, are they going to show off her power set? What's going to happen? So that's going to be something interesting, and I think I'm actually going to go ahead and talk about that in the next week's video podcast, because I think that it's something that it is interesting to talk about when they go and they take a character and they totally change everything about the character. But it's kind of one of those things. Sorry, that people like Miss Marvel as being inhuman, and I understand that, and they really hated that she was killed. But as I said, Marvel doesn't care what people think. They change the sexual orientation and the gender identity of a character because they assume that they know what that character is really like, and they don't care if people like it or don't like it. And you don't have a lot of people on Twitter that are blowing up about this one mutant becoming gay, even though he was never gay in the comic book series. But then the moment that you kill off Miss Marvel and then bring her back, they get their panties in a twist and be like, yeah, maybe you'll understand why people get upset about this. But I personally don't care. To me, Marvel is a company. Their job is to make money. And if they want to turn Miss Marvel into her MCU counterpart, then that is their right. They own the rights to that character. We don't own that character. We just get the honor of being a part of their world for about 5 minutes. So that is all I'm going to really talk about in today's comic book video podcast. As I said, next week I will be talking about the X-Men Gala 2023 issue number 1. And then next month, Miss Marvel is coming back in a 6-issue series. And we'll see what happens. I do intend to buy all of the comics in the 6-issue series, which will go all the way into 2024. And yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast. As soon as I know when I'm off next time, or second time I'm off, I will do another podcast. So I'll see you guys around. Bye.